Hello, I'm Bonnie Rabikoff, and this week we are in the kitchen at the Gaslight Grill. We're going to prepare one of their signature dishes, Australian lamb chops. But before we do that, we're going to spend a little time with their restaurateur and owner, Dick Hawk. Dick, thank you for inviting us into your kitchen.
Well, thank you so much, Bonnie. We're delighted to have you here.
Well, this is a special opportunity for us because we normally don't have a restaurant that also provides live jazz 5 nights a week, Wednesday through Sunday, and that's great ambiance for the diners. Let's talk a little bit about your journey to the Gaslight Grill.
Well, I came very directly here.
Okay.
My first professional position was as Director of Division of Field Services at Emporia State University.
Yes.
Went from there to the University of Chicago, where I became the Assistant Dean of the Graduate School of Education.
So you were in education.
I was to begin with, right.
Yes, okay.
Left there, went to Minnesota, where I was the first Executive Director of the State Higher Education Board. When I finished that, I started a company that was a student loan company. It was a nationwide company that guaranteed student loans.
So you found a need in the area of higher education, and
We did indeed.
You did indeed, okay.
During the course of that, I founded a couple of other companies, including a bank, and bought some more banks. Ended up with a chain of 9 banks in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. And I had a insurance company in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Had a high-tech company in San Antonio. And I had universities in San Diego, Mexico City, London, and Nairobi. Then I went down to Lake Ozark one time to play tennis. Tennis was good, but there wasn't a good place to stay, so I built a hotel down there.
Dick, I think a few more communities could benefit from your care. Yes.
I'm not sure about that, but the band that plays at the Gaslight Grill played at that hotel. When I sold the
nice
hotel, I had
history.
no place for the band to play.
Well, there you go. So you had to find a place.
Exactly. Now you know why we have the Gaslight Grill.
Okay. So, a very eclectic background, but there's a thread running through it, or I believe that there is, and that is throughout your career you've been able to identify a need and then move in to help fill that need, and you have here in Leawood with this wonderful restaurant and also with the jazz. So what is it you want for your diners here?
To feel like they just had dinner at a wonderful restaurant that has world-class dining and world-class entertainment. The world-class dining is American cuisine with a continental flair, and the world-class entertainment is provided by Lynn Zimmer and the Jazz Band. And it's the combination of those two in an atmosphere of casual elegance that we think provides the diner or the guest with a total experience. And it is the total experience that we're interested in.
So let's talk a little bit about the jazz piece.
Sure.
Have you always loved jazz?
I've loved jazz at least since the time I was in high school. And it's been a pleasure for me to have the opportunity to work with some very professional musicians. I first heard Lynn Zimmer play in San Francisco. He was playing with the Turk Murphy Band at that time. I thought he was the best jazz clarinetist I'd ever heard.
Oh my, okay.
When I was preparing to open a hotel in Lake Ozark, I discovered he was down there for a personal reason, and I convinced him to hang around and lead a band at the Country Club Hotel and Spa, which he did.
You did.
And
how long did you have that hotel? How long were you there?
About 14 years, I guess, altogether. Yeah. And some of the finest musicians in the world, who are Kansas City musicians, play with Lynn Zimmer 5 nights every week at the Gaslight Grill.
So we forget that this is one of the homes of jazz in Kansas City and something to be celebrated by our community. And I understand that each night you go up to that piano and play a little yourself.
I do. I join the band for a number or two, once each set.
So you are very involved with. Now you don't go back in the kitchen and cook, do you?
I hope not.
Okay, okay. But you do help with the music. Well, I want to thank you for the contribution you're making to our community with jazz and fine food, and for inviting us to be in your kitchen.
We're delighted to have you here, and we're pleased if you like what we're doing.
We do. So now I'm talking to the general manager at the Gaslight Grill, Fred Waldemuth. Did I say that right?
Sure did.
I said that right. Fred, what a task. This is a huge facility, multiple types of spaces, both indoor and out. What are the...
That is right. We have as many as 7 different dining rooms that we can use for small occasions, small gatherings, all the way up to well over 100 people. And of course, if you want the whole restaurant, we can probably get 300 or 400 people here.
We could persuade you.
Yes.
Yes.
We tailor make each and every event to the guest needs, whether it be a rehearsal dinner or a corporate event or a family gathering. We put them into their rooms, and then they just have a great time, you know. And then after meetings, they certainly can come back and listen to the live jazz and listen to Lim Zimmer. You know, it's a wonderful setting.
And something I hadn't realized initially from the times that I've been here and enjoyed dining is your outdoor space.
Yes, it's a wonderful outdoor setting as well. If you want to come enjoy the patio, we have multiple patios here, as you can see, and it's becoming very popular with our groups as well.
So what would you say are the most frequent types of events that happen here at the Gaslight Grill?
Well, this is very much a special occasion restaurant. Anniversaries and birthdays are prevalent here, whether it just be the couple or the entire family. So those are the most that we enjoy. Also, corporate events are becoming more and more popular as the economy is improving.
Thank goodness.
They're coming out and entertaining their guests and their employees, and it's been very rewarding for them and for us as well. Music is always so rewarding because people just enjoy their evening. It's more than just a dining experience; it's a total entertainment experience.
Well, Fred, thank you for taking such good care of this restaurant for Dick. And now we're going to chat with the chef and then go into the kitchen.
Very good.
Thank you. We're continuing our chat before we go into the kitchen at the Gaslight Grill with their executive chef, Eddie Jalali, whose name I pronounced correctly.
Yes, you did.
Yes, I did. Eddie, you have some wonderful food here, and we're going to go in and cook some of it in a minute. But first, I'd like to talk with you about your journey to this profession. Where did it begin?
I actually began when I was 13, and I always had love for cooking. And I started at Westminster College in London. I did 6 months over there, and after that I went back to France, and I did 2.5 years, and went back to the UK after that, and I had an offer to work for Chef Ramsay, and I did another 2.5 years at Westminster College, and
That's a very impressive training record. How exciting. What brought you then to America?
My wife, my lovely wife.
I have to tell you how many times our chefs who are from other parts of the world give me that answer. Your lovely wife brought you to and Kansas City.
It is. She's from Omaha, but prefer Kansas City. I do prefer
You
Kansas City.
prefer Kansas City. Dick's so fortunate to be able to have someone with your extensive training and background. So, what is your inspiration in the kitchen every day? I mean, it's hard work in there. I have no illusions about what you all do to make this wonderful food happen.
I would say my inspiration actually is happen day to day, but it's the end of my happiness is actually when the guests are happy.
Yes.
That's what inspires me. Every happy guest, my inspiration grows inside me, basically.
You know, and we as guests have to remember that when we've enjoyed something, to be sure to tell the server, tell the chef, this was wonderful. Or if something isn't quite right, but it's that feedback that's really integral to the work that you do.
Well, actually, the feedback is a gift.
It's the gift, yeah. So that you know when you've done something really well. What is your creative process? So how does it begin inside of you, work?
I would say how you get inspired to create the dishes, basically. I just walk to the fridge and have a feel for whatever I feel for the day. And look what I have and start playing with them, and things happen, come up to the plate.
Okay, so I know that some of your signature dishes are always on the menu because you know how we are. We have a taste for something and then we want to go to the restaurant and we want it to be there. But it is also wonderful for the more adventuresome diner to be able to say, I wonder what's inspired the chef today. So what inspired you? I mean, very impressive training. What was there one particular chef or one particular restaurant that you believe really shaped, molded who you are, the chef you are today?
the chef who molded me to be today is actually, there are two of them, not just one.
Okay.
One of them taught me how to cook, and the other one taught me how to be cook and manage the cooks.
Okay, so we forget executive chef is more than just cooking. It's you're providing leadership for the other cooks in the kitchen.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so what the chef that taught you how to cook, was there a standout lesson or
He's actually the person who taught me how to cook. His name Olmiro Gulucci.
Yes.
And
Where was this? What country?
That was in the UK.
UK.
And he's originally Italian, and
As are you.
and actually, I believe he's one of the greatest chefs I ever worked with. And
Why?
he knows everything, and he never forgot anything.
Yes. He's obviously an inspiring
Oh, yeah.
man too.
And I owe him a lot of respect, and I would say probably I'm here standing because what I learned from
Oh
him,
my goodness.
and I hope to pass on what I have to the other people.
So that's the other responsibility, because someone did that for you, and now you're that person for other people.
For the rest, exactly.
For the rest. Okay, chef, I think you and I should go into the kitchen and prepare that signature dish.
Absolutely. Let's
Okay.
have some fun.
We're gonna have some fun, and why don't you come with us? Hello, I'm Bonnie Rabikoff, and we are in the kitchen at the Gaslight Grill with their executive chef, Eddie. Eddie, what's the signature dish we're gonna make today?
We're gonna have Australian lamb chop
Yes.
with bitter glass, lima beans, cubed red potato, and pearl onion.
That sounds delicious. So obviously we're gonna begin with the lamb chop. So
Okay.
what do we have here?
Here we have French lamb rack.
Yes.
Okay. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna finish trimming the lamb rack. Okay.
So, and I saw you earlier sharpening your knives, and that's something we have to remind the home cook. Would you do one sharpening exercise for us, chef?
When you sharpen your knife, you're supposed to go at 75 degrees.
Yes.
And you go both ways.
And it doesn't even take a minute, but you'll get a much better result if you remember to sharpen just before you use it.
Absolutely.
All right. So what do
So,
we want? What
what
are we
we have
wanting
here-
to do?
The first skin, which you could see right now,
Yes.
you really should take that off, because if you cook it, you
Yeah.
turn the meat tough and give it better, very better taste. So you should obviously.
And if you're not wearing gloves at home, I found a little kitchen towel helps you grip that.
Absolutely. That's why I have my towel over here sometimes, even with the gloves.
It will do that. And this has been Frenched
This is
by,
being fresh already.
Frenched by the butcher.
Uh-huh.
So. And so you go into the butcher, you ask for a rack of lamb. Tell me, what do you look for when you purchase lamb? What do you want to see?
You should buy a baby rack of lamb.
Baby rack, more tender.
More tender,
Yes.
has better flavor.
Yes.
The mature lamb has such powerful flavor.
It does, yeah.
To some people, that's that.
That's why some people don't like lamb, because they
Exactly.
haven't had the
Flavor.
big, yes. So baby Australian.
So what you be looking, if you get a baby,
Yes.
because the eye is not such a big eye.
Ah.
So when you cut them off, you look at the bones over here, and you
Yes.
go, all the bones, you get
So a serving, you're cutting them in two.
and choose. Exactly.
Okay.
We have our saute pans.
Yes.
Little hold.
Now I noticed you've gotten them warm first. The
Yeah.
pan you wanted to warm up.
Should be a bit warmer, yeah.
And about what temperature at home?
I would say at home, if you put your pan on the heat, on a medium heat,
Medium.
you put it at least for 3 minutes earlier, then putting the meat on it. 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
You
Warm
put
up.
about a tiny bit of oil.
And what kind of oil is that,
That's
chef?
olive oil.
Olive oil. Okay.
And you got the best result, best flavor, best looking.
Okay.
Now we got
And I
That's-
want to point out that Chef just does this automatically. When he salts from a distance above the product, so he gets more even distribution of seasoning.
exactly. And we're
And-
using the rock salt
Yes,
or kosher salt.
and kosher salt and fresh cracked pepper. We heated this for 3 minutes. minutes, put in about a tablespoon or so of olive oil. We've seasoned the lamb. And you're pressing the seasoning in. Remember, the seasoning frequently falls off, so be generous.
Exactly.
So essentially, we're going to sear this before we put it in the oven.
You go like 3 to 5 minutes on the pan.
Yes.
First to get a nice seared piece of it.
And I noticed that once you put the meat down, Chef, you're not touching it, you're letting it actually get some color and flavor.
Exactly.
We have a tendency to play with our food while it's in the pan. We shouldn't do that.
Lamb over.
We're multitasking. Ah, that's the color we want right there. Not to mention how delicious this smells. All right, and that just took a
Now,
few
as
minutes.
soon as you turn them over the bone, you're supposed to sear the side meat first.
Yes?
When you turn them over the bone side, that's the time you're gonna put them in the oven. So remember to sear the meat side, then turn them over, then now we're gonna put them in the oven.
All right, we've seared the lamb. It's in the oven. What do we have here, and how did these products get this way?
Okay. In here we have caramelized pearl onion, red potato cubes, and lima beans. Now the caramelized pearl onion, you could find the pearl onion in the frozen aisle at the grocery store.
Okay.
And basically you just cook them for about 5 to 6 minutes with the butter.
Butter.
And they turn to that brown color.
So you want this? You're going for this color.
You're going for this color.
Okay.
Now the potato itself, we basically boiled the red potato halfway cooked.
Yes.
We took it up and we diced it. And we mixed it a little bit with beer glass. That's what is the color there.
Okay, so you boiled them, you diced them, and then you tossed them with the veal gloss. And how can we get that product, the veal gloss?
The beer glass, you could get it over the store.
Yes.
Some specialized grocery stores. Or you could make it at home. And obviously it takes a long time to get it to cook, but I would suggest you to go and buy it.
Okay, so we can buy the veal gloss, and so that's what we toss. So these have been par-cooked, diced, and tossed with veal gloss. All right.
And here we have lima beans.
Yes.
Which we have, they come again from the grocery stores, you can find them frozen. And what we did, we blanched them for about 6 minutes to get them to al dente.
Yes.
Then we cook them down, and after that, when they cool down, we saute them again on the butter. So there's 2 steps on those beans there.
So you cook them first, and then you saute them in butter.
Exactly.
And we want, what we're seeing here is color in all 3 of these products.
Exactly.
Which means flavor.
Exactly.
Yes, it does. Okay.
And
What do we have here?
now we have, this is our mint and rosemary, olive oil,
So you just chopped up fresh mint
fresh rosemary, fresh thyme.
and thyme.
Yeah.
I'm going to smell this. Oh my. And you put it in olive oil and you just let it infuse.
Just let it infuse.
Infuse.
Exactly.
Okay, and that's the veal
That's the
gloss,
veal gloss.
which we know that you made from scratch, but for us home cooks, we could purchase that product. So the lamb was in the oven for a little bit, and now it's time for its little drizzle.
Exactly.
So it hasn't finished cooking
No.
yet, and this
The reason,
is when, yes.
one of the reasons why you put that after 3 minutes of cooking, because you don't want the mint and the rosemary to burn.
Okay.
So you give it enough time to cook and add the flavor to your lamb, but you don't want to have that bitterness flavor.
Because when you use fresh herbs, they will burn. And so are we going back in the oven?
We're going back in the oven for another 4 minutes.
All right, the lamb has been drizzled with the infused oil and back in the oven. And now, Chef?
Now we're gonna get the veggies for the lamb ready. So about a tablespoon of olive oil.
Uh-huh. And you've warmed the pan a little again.
Then you want,
These are our potatoes, which we talked about earlier. And the beautiful pearl onions. And the lima beans really introduce a great color for the dish.
now, Then we need chicken stock.
All right, so once we've sauteed it in butter, then we add chicken stock. And again, you can buy that product off the shelf as well. Oh, smells yummy. Now, I notice you're not adding any salt and pepper. Is that because you've done that?
I did. They season as they cook.
Okay, so as each of those items cook, they have their salt and pepper. So we're not going to do that now because we don't want to overseason.
Overseason, exactly.
Are we wanting this to reduce a little?
Exactly. You want it to reduce by half.
Okay, so the chicken stock is reduced, and now the
And
next.
you're looking for a little bit darker flavor, darker color.
Yes,
That's
a little thicker, a little thicker. Okay, that veal gloss is gorgeous. We just keep adding layers of flavor.
Exactly.
Is this one of your creations?
It is.
It is one of your creations. So a few minutes and then in goes the butter. And this is unsalted butter?
This is unsalted butter.
Yes, because you've done your own seasoning along the way. And it's
Turn the heat
important
a
to
bit
know
low.
that the butter comes at the end. It's the finishing
It's the
product.
finishing product.
Yes.
The butter, what it does to it, it just make it more creamier.
Yes.
You still have all the flavors together, but it adds a little bit of creamier flavor to it. So you have that nice, smooth flavor.
It adds a little shine and it just brings it all together. And you know, the order in which you introduce the products is crucial to the outcome of the dish.
Exactly.
We know you eat with your eyes first.
Absolutely.
Okay, so how are we going to present this?
Now we're gonna attach the lamb chops to each other.
Okay,
And we
a
make it-
technique.
And the technique called chateau.
Chateau, which we think of as a tall house or building.
Exactly.
Ah, we're going to make our own chateau. Ah, I've never built a chateau before.
Well, we do it today.
But today we're building a chateau.
And what you want, you got the first to
Yes.
each other,
Yes.
then the third one goes into them. And you got to
There's
stand
the
up.
chateau. We have a lamb chateau, my first. All right, now what are we going to do
Now what
next?
we're gonna do, we're gonna put our sauce.
All right, so we're going to make a bed for the chateau
Exactly.
of this beautiful vegetable mixture. Oh. I'm gonna there. Here comes the chateau. If I were a chateau, that's what I would be wanting to rest on.
And what I'm gonna
Ah, a little more garnish.
do, a tiny bit of drizzle.
Now I noticed that you really reached in for the herbs to do that. So the point is to have the herbs, which the lamb had cooked in, to be present as part of the garnish. Well, chef, thank you. We're going to go pair this with wine, and our celebrity taster's the final word.
It's all my pleasure.
Oh, thank you. We are in the kitchen at the Gaslight Grill. We have just finished preparing a signature dish with Chef Eddie, lamb chops and potatoes and lima beans, and now what to drink with this signature dish. To answer that question, we're talking to the sommelier here, Charles Peach. Charles, what should we drink with the dish?
Well, you should definitely go with something that's going to match up well with the unique characteristics of lamb chops. And sticking with the theme, since we have Australian lamb chops,
Yes,
we're
we
going
do.
with an Australian Shiraz.
Makes so much sense.
We've chosen the St. Hallett,
Yes.
and it is their Blackwell Shiraz, which is a blend that's named after their vineyard manager. And it chooses wines that are or grapes that are from the Barossa Valley, and very specific vineyard sites to get a very rich, bold flavor component.
So a Shiraz from Australia. And you and I were talking earlier, you had mentioned that the name of the grape isn't really Shiraz, and I didn't know that. What is the name of the grape?
Well, the grape is actually Syrah, and Australia has been growing it for a long time under the auspices that the original name of the grape was Shiraz, named after a town in Iran. And unfortunately, those guys at UC Davis and a few other universities went through and tested the DNA of it, and they found out, no, it's not from there, but it is native to southern France, and the true name of it is Syrah. But Australia had mounted such a huge marketing campaign that now they can't go back on it.
We just get attached to things like that.
And it's a nice, easy name to say, and it's fun.
And
So,
it is fun.
Shiraz.
So, and we think of it, when we think of Shiraz, we think of Australia. So let's open it and see what this looks like.
Okay.
Again, so bold to stand up to the lamb chops.
You
And
wanna-
same country.
Yeah, same country, and I'm a big fan that foods that grow up together generally pair pretty well together. So when you have wines that are grown in a region because they've become accustomed to that diet, those wines a lot of times will pair very well. And then what you're doing is just splitting hairs as to what kind of sauce you use or what other side items go with it that make one wine pair a little bit better than another.
Well, I know we have some butter in this as well. And of course, I think butter goes well with everything. But again, we have some intense flavors, and I think the
Right.
Shiraz is going to stand up to it. You know, we have Tana Guthrie from KUDL coming here as our celebrity taster. So ultimately, it will be up to her to tell us how she likes the food and how well she thinks it works with the wine the sommelier has selected.
Now, one of the things about Shiraz is that it has a lot of tannins. So a lot of times you'll have, especially with the Shiraz that's starting to get some age on it, you'll have what's called a little bit of silt or sediment that builds up in the bottom of it, just like kind of real fine river silt. And that's really nothing more than the microscopic particles of the grape skin that get suspended in that give it the color. They are suspended in the wine, and then you have those bounce together over the years, and eventually they clump up and they fall to the bottom.
And I know, so how do you recommend serving this? Do you recommend decanting it and letting it settle
This
in a little
particular
bit?
one,
You would,
yeah,
you would.
yeah. But that's because it's got a couple of years on it. It's started to develop that.
Oh, 5.
And it's a very high quality wine. One of the misconceptions is that Australian wines are inexpensive.
I've heard that misconception repeated.
And they make some very fine world-class wines, and this is a great example of it.
Well, thank you very much for the time you've spent selecting this. We're going to go have Tana taste the food and the wine. Thank you, sommelier.
Thank you.
We are here at the Gaslight Grill, and we're getting ready to taste the wonderful food prepared by chef. With me to do the task is Tana Guthrie, who's their personality, on-air personality on KUDL every morning from 5:30 to 9. And so you have early days. Thank you for taking time out to taste this.
No, thank you for asking me. Really, you had me at wine.
Oh,
You said there's wine and lamb at 3:30 in the afternoon. I'm
You're
in.
there. You're there. Okay, so Tana, I need to tell you what Chef prepared for you. It's grilled lamb chops, and he seared them and put some infused oils on it. And then he made a sauce, a bed, if you will, of vegetables, and they're baby pearl onions and lima beans and potatoes, and he mixed that with chicken stock, a veal glacé, and dare I say butter. But you know,
I love butter.
There's a time and a
Yes.
place for butter, and this is the time and this is a place. And then the wine sommelier has paired this with a Shiraz from, of course, Australia. So we need to taste this.
Now, do we go wine first or lamb chops first?
We actually, this is very important. We taste the food. You tell me what you're tasting, and then we taste the wine.
All right.
And you may not know this, but this is a chateau.
I did not know that.
I didn't know it either.
Now, what makes it a chateau? The fact that it's stuck in.
Yes, and Chef actually showed me how to do this. And I'm going to try to do this without having, you know, an earthquake occur at the restaurant. Okay, so please.
I don't want to take the big piece. You take which piece do you want?
It's just, you know, no one is bashful here.
Okay.
And then you do need some vegetables with
right.
those, you know, because how they say eat your vegetables.
Yes, I
Yeah,
love the
this is
vegetables
not
here.
you know, this is not an unpleasant task, though.
Not at all. Eating never is good food.
Okay, so now we're going to taste the lamb chops, and I should tell you, these are from Australia.
Okay.
One of the interesting things that the wine sommelier says that he chose a wine that was also from the same country, believing that wine and foods from the same country pair better.
What makes sense?
It did after he said so.
Are you ready? Do we go at the same time?
No.
I can go?
You go, girl.
I don't have to wait?
You
This
go,
smells
girl.
so good.
I know. This tortured me. I have to wait. I know you've eaten some.
That is so
Isn't that
good.
amazing?
It's very good.
That's very good. Look how tender it is because he seared it. Then he roasted it in the oven, drizzled the oil on it, put it back in the oven while he was preparing this. Now,
But it's cooked perfectly. It's not overdone.
I know.
Okay, now the vegetables before the wine.
Okay. Oh, that's amazing.
I love lemon. Oh, when you bite into the onion, isn't that great? I just got it. That is so good. They're sweet.
You know what's good about the pearl onions is, so you have the flavor of the onion, but it's not so strong that it hits you in the head. You know, I mean, it just builds in
So you can still kiss your date after the meal.
You can kiss your date. Here, to life.
Cheers. That's very good, isn't it? It smells good too.
It does smell good. The wine director said that he needed something to stand up to the lamb and to the vegetables. I mean, there's butter in here, for goodness sakes. So what do you think of the pairing?
Very nice. It's very smooth. You know, sometimes wine, I think red wine can be bitter. It has that aftertaste. This doesn't. This goes very well with the lamb.
And something he did, this is a 2005, he let it get some air to it, aerate, because he said they start getting stronger, and if you give it a little bit of air, it's going to mellow down and be perfect. He did good.
So don't drink from the bottle. I need to remember that.
Tina, you just embarrassed this way. But he did say this would probably be a good wine to decant. You know, so
It's very good.
it's very good. I think we should eat some more.
I was going to say,
of
can
this.
we eat more?
No, we get to finish all
get to
of
finish
this,
it,
but
great.
I want to thank you. I know your schedule's crazy and your day begins so early, and we really appreciate you spending
thank
time
you.
with us.
Thanks.